beautiful people. My name is Mary Laura Cato and welcome to the Melanin Culture, the sacred space where ordinary people of melanin get to share their extraordinary stories, passions, experiences, genius, and unique insight into the human condition. The heart and purpose of this channel is simple. I truly believe that ordinary people have extraordinary stories worth sharing and celebrating. Now, the topic that we will be exploring on today's episode is one that I've been on a personal journey with since I was a little girl, and one that I'll be on until I'm old and grey, and that is the process of defining and redefining and owning the sacred beauty and power of a woman's body. We have amazing guests coming on. I'm so excited for this episode. So sit back or lean forward and let's get this started. For centuries, the woman's body has been denigrated, experimented on, exploited, abused, molested, raped, made exhibition of, made sport of, made fun of, hated, belittled, torn down, fetishized, worshipped, praised, not just by men, society, patriarchy, religion, cultures, or inequality, but by women ourselves. Sadly, the woman's body, the woman's form, has never been universally allowed to be enough as it is in all its kaleidoscope of range and difference. It's always too much or not enough. It's too fat, not skinny enough. It's too short, not tall enough. It's too sexy or not prudish enough. It's too delicate or not strong enough. It's too masculine or not feminine enough. And the list goes on. All of this taking away and reducing the divine and human wonder of a woman's body to a sum of flesh, matter, and objectification. You see, one of the core missions of my life, and a core mission that I believe all women should share, is to daily locate within herself the sacred beauty of her body that isn't restricted or limited to the shapes and shades that our physical form presents themselves. Rather, it transcends all of this in the most mundane, everyday ways, but also the miraculous. The sacred beauty and power of a woman's body is mine to daily define and redefine and own. And the sacred beauty and power of a woman's body is yours to daily define, redefine, and own.
So my name's Musumba and I come from Kenya. I migrated to Malaysia when I was 15 and I sort of studied there and decided to move to Australia to do my tertiary schooling, and finally I work here as a nurse. My passions are people. I love people. I love solving problems, taking care of people. I think it's my calling in life. I love my family. I come from a big family of women and we just support each other. It's special.
So my name is Musumba, and I am from Kenya, and I came to Australia maybe 9-10 years ago, and since being in Australia I've studied for my nursing. I did a degree and master's as well, so currently I'm employed as a registered nurse at an age here.
So my name is Musumba. I'm 34, big girl. I moved to Australia in 2006, so I've been here about 15 years or so. I originally started studying nursing and managed to graduate with my nursing degree in 2009. I worked my way up to nurse manager position and started working in a rural remote facility in Mount Isa. And I've just recently relocated to Brisbane, and we'll just see what Brisbane has to offer for me.
We've been raised in a family of strong women. Most of us are women in our family, and we've come from a family of health professionals. For instance, some of our aunties are nurses, and our paternal grandmother was the first woman to be educated in a village, and she eventually became a nurse. And then through that, she was able to open up a clinic in her hometown, and then that clinic has served many people who come there to get medical assistance. So with that, it has helped us to navigate through our careers today as nurses, and it has helped to shape what we wanted to become as a nurse.
What insights has being a nurse added to your understanding and appreciation of a woman's body and the beauty of that?
Well, in our career, the first thing we noticed while working as carers, as nurses, was the skin. So when you first get your patient, actually in school, they tell you you have to observe the skin. You can tell by the symptoms, color changes, from assessing just the skin. And this was fascinating to us because, I mean, your face, your skin tells so much about your story without using words. You can tell that this person is sick. You can tell this person is older by the wrinkles they have on their face, the scars they have on their skin. You can tell so much about a person just by looking at their skin. And I thought, I mean, this fascination of who we are as women, we should wear it proudly. I mean, we see a lot of individuals and we can tell about their story before even asking them a question. And so why not share our identity as melanated women in our industry? You know? I mean, it's beautiful. It's just,
and which in so many ways sadly is underrepresented, especially in the West, right? Because and when you're living, as you said earlier, in a place where we're not the majority. And so I find that so fascinating and just interesting just from the skin, because I mean the world can be a very racist place, like there's no denial, right? And the world can also pretend to be colorblind, which is denial, because to not see color is to say that certain colors are not beautiful or don't matter. And what I love about this is you're saying just from a person's skin, which is the first robe or clothing, as you put it, that you wear, you can tell so much about that human. And so instead of it being this negative, it's a beautiful thing. It's a beautiful thing. So no, I love that.
On the flip side of that, we also noticed as nurses that there was a deficit in terms of assessing a patient with more melanin on their skin. So in our textbooks, the way that we are taught at uni, even doing our practicals, they teach you to look at the skin and assess for redness, color changes, if they're hot or cold and things like that. However, if you're darker, you can't really visualize if someone's skin is red or if it's quite difficult in terms of they don't teach that. So when you start as a nurse, so I worked in a rural remote hospital in Mount Isa. There's a lot of indigenous patients out there. So for me, I had to kind of relearn or retrain myself, because people, when you ask people that question, they're like, it's really hard. Oh, it's really hard. We don't know how to go about it. So you actually have to teach yourself and try and learn how to assess a darker skin patient. So for me, it would be more of touching their skin rather than looking at it, more of assessing their pupils, their eyes, the inner linings of their mouth, instead of actually just looking at their outward skin. And I find that that deficit, that area needs to be addressed because no one's actually speaking about it. And it is causing patients to have poor health outcomes because they're not being seen on time. So if I can't see if your leg is red or if it's infected, you'll just be there in the waiting room for a while before someone comes and sees you. And you could have a fever, you could turn septic. Things could go downhill fast. So
and I find that so scary.
it is. So for us, for me especially, I find that education in terms of trying to close that gap in how to assess a patient with melanated skin, and not just dark skin but brown skin is also an issue in the hospital. So
absolutely. And I think it's sad. I mean, it's sad and it's telling, right? Who the victors were, who the colonizers were in certain places that for, you know, we're in 2021 and there's still a gap, right? When you think the world has become so much more multicultural than it was, but there's still a gap in I guess this Western landscape where you're not taught. That's not taught. You're literally given the one standard, and then you have to try and make adjustments along the way.
And because it's not taught, you actually, for me, I kind of struggled a little bit along the way, trying to figure out how to do things. And by the time you get there, like I've been nursing for 10 years, I don't want anyone else to go through that. Like as a younger nurse, I just want people to be able to come in, provide a skill, do your job, and be comfortable doing it.
It's really interesting because I remember I haven't had the best health the last few years, but I just remember once presenting with a rash on my breasts, and several times was just a rash, and then obviously, you know, because I'm crazy this way, I just went on Dr. Google and Grey's Anatomy,
best place to be.
and freaked myself out because I realized that, hang on, like these are all the symptoms, but because I look up pictures, whenever I look, I don't just look up the words, I look up the pictures, and I realized there's no pictures of Black women, so how would I know if this is anything but just a rash? What was the first thing that you learned to hate about your body?
For me, if you don't mind me starting, for me, since childhood, I've been skinny. I'm not skinny now, but since childhood, I was a stick, literally. Compared to my sisters, we're 5 girls, so compared to all of them, I was thin. So I remember being thin, and then going to boarding schools, I even lost more weight and became thinner just because of the stresses of school and whatnot, just regular stuff. But it really affected my body image because it wasn't actually me. I saw myself as beautiful, but when other people viewed me, like friends, they'll be like, Rhoda, you're so thin, you're so skinny, and I'm like, do I look like a skeleton or something?
Is it a bad thing?
Is it a bad thing? And also because I've got collarbones that usually stick out. You know, literally people would think, and you know, in Africa, it's not healthy.
Right? They straight away think it's not healthy.
You've got to have a build, like a body. They straight away think it's not healthy, and that's not the case. So that actually affected me to the point I remember I went and bought Masashi. It was a protein shake. I thought if I drink this, I'll gain weight. I'll bulk up, you know, but my body was like, no, your metabolism is fast. Like, what are you trying to do? So after that, I looked at myself in the mirror and I was like, no, you've got to accept yourself for who you are. This is how God created you. Accept your carbs, even though they're little. Accept your
I love that.
Because they're still carbs, you know, just a different kind of carbs. So I learned to love myself just the way I am, and accept my skin color and accept my body, you know, and not try to be negative about it, because it was affecting me mentally. So that's how I progressed. I moved on from that.
No, I love it.
Actually, picking up from Rhoda, I was quite the opposite. I was looking for carbs. I even prayed to God. I was like on my knees, God, you have to give me carbs. Because you see ladies in Africa, they have carbs and that's the goal.
For days,
literally. And so we moved to Malaysia, 15-year-olds.
Yeah.
And your mindset is, am I beautiful? So you have to constantly compare yourself.
Yeah.
So in Malaysia, the first thing I hated was my skin color. Because it was the only different thing. The only thing I could, exactly. And yeah, I just remember thinking, why are we so dark? Like, why am I this dark and someone fairer is considered more beautiful? And I think that got to me. But I really love the fact that we have so many women in our family, seriously. And I just love the way we build each other. So I would, for example, if I was going to school, I'd comment on my skin color, be like, oh, if we could just have makeup, something just that brightens our skin tone. And Rhoda would immediately shut me down. They shut me off, like, stop, you're beautiful. And I love that we feed off each other's strength when someone else doesn't feel as strong. So I think in the society, women should actually like lend each other's strength. Like we need that, so that we don't have to conform, and also just have like a standardized sort of beauty. We should accept and just celebrate each other. So that was my first hate. But I feel like it's a good thing that I started to learn more about myself. Trust me, you can tell me I'm dark and ugly and I'll look at you like you're crazy.
But it's a journey.
It is a journey, it's a process. Constant mental like rehabilitation. Like
that's the best word. You have to
constantly guard yourself and what feeds you. So you have to be on the guard.
Absolutely on the guard.
Right. So, like we said, we come from a family of girls. So I'm the eldest. And also like the biggest in terms of our family size.
In terms of
So we have Rhoda as, you know, the skinniest, and then there's me who has all the curves that everyone was talking about. In all the right places. But like Irene said, when we moved to Malaysia, I was 19 then. And I didn't have a problem with my body in Kenya because I was fine. But when we moved there, everyone has a standardized, how do I put this?
Look.
It's not even look. It's way of thinking. It's a way of thinking. So if I don't fit into a certain size of jeans, then that means I'm fat. So all of them like want to be a size 8, regardless of their height, their weight. All of them have that one size that they want to fit into. So for me, I only lived there initially for like 3 months before moving to Australia, but that messed with my mind so much. We'd go shopping for clothes and be like, why is there only size 8s? Like size 8 and under. There's no other sizes. Like they tell you, if you're bigger than this, there's no place for you here. So you just feel like an outcast. And that's when I started dieting, like in the worst way possible. Restrictions, fasting. One point in time I went on like a juice fast, got up out of bed to go to the loo and collapsed. At that point in time I was like, what is going on? Like you feel dizzy and you're on the ground and you're like, what's going on? Like you don't register it's what you're doing.
It's what you're doing.
You're ruining your body. So I gradually started loving myself when, I know this is all societal, but when curvaceous women started coming on trend.
Isn't that
I was like, oh, so this is not such a bad thing. So that had a positive influence on me. I'm gonna say social media and media outlets in that sense had a positive
because you saw yourself represented
in the media. So I took that, I ate that up, and I was like, you can't tell me nothing. So I'm one of those girls. So I'm a bigger girl. I dress how I want. I don't care what people think.
That's true.
If I go to the beach, I'm gonna have my bikini. If it's the tiniest bikini, I don't care. My sisters usually are like, you dress in things that even we wouldn't dress in, just
Yeah.
because I'm like, I'm out here living my best life.
Yes. Yeah.
That's just me for now.
I love
Hopefully
that.
I'll just progress to be better and better.
Which I think is so important, because again, like, yes, social media has its evils.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
But there is a power to when enough of a type is represented, because there are so many. It echoes out to the millions others like that, going, oh my God, thank God.
It empowers you.
Oh my God, thank God. Like, so I am beautiful, and there is room for me.
Yeah.
Because what I found a lot growing up, and I'm not fully grown, I'm still growing. Right? We're still going. But what I found a lot of my journey is I was always looking at the standard, right? And it's kind of like trying to put a square peg in a round hole. And I was that square peg, and everything around me, because I grew up, I was here since I was 7.5, was a round hole. So everybody was aspiring to be a certain size, and the shapes, and I got obsessed with shapes, forgetting that no, everyone has a different shape, even in a certain size. Not all size 10s are the same shape. And that blew my mind when I got older, because I was trying so hard to fit this shape, and to I used to say this thing, because I have 3 brothers, and they're all tall. I mean, my youngest brother 6'7", and then my other brother 6'5", my other brother 6'1". So tall, crazy athletic our whole lives, stunning, gorgeous, everybody crushing on them. As a black man, oh my God, amazing black man, I just loved it. You know, everywhere. And I always felt like, oh, here comes the chubby sister, and I always felt like I was letting them down, because I had this thing where I was like, we're already not liked for our skin. The least I could do is have a body that at least gets the tick. So when you see it in social media, it was the same as me. It was a saving grace. We were like, oh my gosh, yes, like, that is okay. Like, I can be a big black woman, and that is still beautiful. It may not be society's idea, but it can be my idea of beautiful. So no, I really appreciate that.